Hello friends, here is your daily math lesson. Last week you were working on ounces and pounds. This week we're going to focus on multiplication. We're going to start working with 2-digit by 1-digit and moving on to do 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the quick introduction. So I just want you to notice here, we have a couple different multiplication problems, 9 times 5, 4 times 4, 8 times 7, 1 times 7. And I want you to notice the multiplication sentence underneath it. We have 90 times 5, 40 times 4, 80 times 7, and 10 times 7. I want you to see if you can find the pattern. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second to get you thinking out loud and see if you can say the pattern out loud. Okay, if you said anything about times 10 or adding 1 0 to the end of the first number, you are correct. So that's kind of the pattern we're working with. This is kind of the problem you're going to see. So we're going to have a 2-digit number and a 1-digit number. We're going to be multiplying those two numbers together. I'm going to be showing you 2 different strategies that you can use to solve these multiplication problems. Some of you already know one or both. Some of you are going to be introduced to something new today, but hopefully you catch on very quickly. So here are the 2 strategies that you possibly might use. This top one here is breaking up the second number. Okay, now this is called the distributive property. Now we have used this before in multiplying certain numbers. So if you notice, the 3 stays the same. Okay, the 3 is a number by itself, so it gets a side by itself. The 23 is broken up into 20 and 3. Okay, and then you would do 3 times 20, and you would get 60. And then you would do 3 times 3, which is 9. And then you would take those 2 numbers and you would add them to get 69 as your final answer. Now, that's one strategy. The next strategy is something that I think I've showed most of you in class, but I'm going to walk through the steps real quick. So you set up your problems with your 10s and your 1s lined up properly. You do 3 times 3, which is 9, and then you do 3 times 2. So it's a very similar strategy, it's just set up a little bit differently, and as you can tell, we get the same answer for both problems, which is also 69. So here's another example. We have 6 times 31, so they split up 6, getting its own side, and 30 and 1 to make 31. Notice that these 2 numbers down here actually add up to equal this number. Okay, that's where that comes from. So that's strategy 1. This is strategy 2. And now, as we continue on in the lesson, I am going to let you pick which strategy that you prefer, unless it tells you to use a specific strategy, one or the other. Okay, here's one more example. This is one we're going to try on our own together. We're going to try it both ways to see if we get the same answer on both. So I'm just going to start with this first strategy. So we have 8 times 40. Now a trick for that, remember, is to do your basic facts first. So 8 times 4, okay, which is 32. And then you add a 0. Okay, 8 times 1 is 8. So my final answer, I'm going to add these 2 numbers, is 328. Now let's see the second strategy if we get the same thing. So 1 times 8 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. And yes, we get the same answer. So we are rock stars. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the lesson. At this time, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil and a multiplication chart if needed. All right, let's start this first problem up first. Let me get it set up. Okay, so here's our first problem. Now, it says the dimensions of a courtyard are 32 feet by 3 feet. Okay, so 32 by 3 feet are our numbers that we're going to be working with. As you can see, they already set it up in both strategies. It says, how could you calculate the area? Now, remember, area is length times width, which is what they set up for us. So here's the rectangle that Rita drew. She drew it up as if it were the courtyard, and she drew a rectangle to represent the courtyard, and then she plugged in her numbers. So you remember, you take the littler number that's by itself, and that gets its own side. And then she took 32 and split it up into 30 and 2, because 30 plus 2 is 32. We're going to multiply 30 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, add a 0. Then we're going to do 3 times 2, which is 6. We're going to add those together, and our final answer is going to be 96. Okay, let's see what Jerome did. Jerome used the standard multiplication algorithm. Okay, so this is the second strategy that we were looking at earlier. Okay, he did the same two numbers, so 32 times 3. He did 3 times 2, which is 6. He did 3 times 3, which is 9, and he also got 96. So no matter what strategy you use, you should get the same answer. Okay, let's try the next one. All right, we have another courtyard. So again, we're using that rectangle shape of 7 by 21 feet. Okay, by 21 feet. So they already plugged in the numbers for you. They have 7 by itself. Let me get my pen tool. They have 7 by itself, and they have 20 and 1, because when you add those two together, they equal 21. Let's go ahead and multiply. So 7 times 2 is 14. We add the 0 and we get 140. 7 times 1 is 7. When we add those together, we get 147. Okay, let's try the standard algorithm. So we do 1 times 7, which is 7, 7 times 2, which is 14, and we both got the same numbers. Very good. So in the future, if it gives you a choice for you to pick which strategy you like best, you have the partial products way, which is the first strategy, and then you have the second strategy, which is the standard algorithm. You get to pick. It's the great thing about math. All right, let's dive into the second part of the workbook page. Let me get my page 2 up and rolling. Okay, so here we're just simply going to multiply. It says to estimate, but we don't need to do the estimating part. So I'm just gonna cross this off so you know not to do it. And I just need you to set up the multiplication problems, okay? We won't worry about the estimating, just to save us some time. Okay, so let's just go up here. I want you to write down A, B, C, and D. And hopefully this is a strategy that you can quickly go through. If you know your multiplication facts, you'll be able to fly through it really quickly. I'm going to walk you through A and B, and then I want you to try C and D on your own, okay? So if I'm looking at letter A, it says 23 times 3. My first step is to do 3 times 3, which I know is 9. My second step is to do 3 times 2, which is 6. So my answer should be 69. Remember, you're multiplying the 1s, and then you're multiplying the 1 with the 10s, okay? So 21 times 4 for letter B. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, which is 84. I'm going to stop talking for a moment, and I would like you to please try letter C and letter D on your own, and when you come back, you will see the answers to check. Alrighty, friends, I am back with some answers for you. Letter C should have been 99. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Letter D should have been 66. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Very good. All right, we're going to keep going. So now we have ones, tens, and hundreds. Now you will see why that is in a moment when we start solving these equations. So let's start with letter A. So we have 32 times 4. Okay, I'm going to do 2 times 4, which is 8. And I'm going to do 4 times 3, which is 12. Now you don't write 12 in the same box. You have to break it up into 1 and 2. So now our answer is 128. Okay, let's try letter B. 3 times 3 is 9. This is why I said it's important you know your multiplication facts. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, 159 is my final answer. Now, 21 times 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. My answer is 126. Letter D, 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. My answer is 126. That's kind of silly that they have the same answer. All right, I want you to try E, F, G, and H on your own. I'm going to go ahead and pause and give you a couple minutes to do that. All right, hopefully that was enough time. I have come back with some answers for you to check your work. So letter E should have been 155. Letter F should have been 123. Letter G should have been 248. And letter H should have been 459. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. Hopefully this lesson was quick and easy for you. Please make sure you send Miss Bilta or Miss Smith a photo of your math work. There's not a lot of work to show, but make sure that you included all of your answers and everything that you could. All right, friends, I'll see you later for some more math. Bye now.